This morning we're going to be talking about the emotional career trap. This live stream was definitely inspired by, and then also remember, guys, if you cannot catch this full live stream, you can catch it on my channel at YouTube. So make sure that you are subscribed to me on YouTube, and then I do go live on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. So if you hopped in on this, I know that this probably sparked something. So I'm definitely happy to be able to talk with you guys. I want to talk about this because, for one, I think what causes people not to take the action that they know that they should take in their career is because they are just too emotionally tied in their career. And a lot of times you may not know that. Hey, Lisa, you may not know that you are emotionally invested in your career. And I'm going to explain that because you're like, Alicia, shouldn't we care about our career and our work? Absolutely, right? But what causes people to not take the action that they should be taking, or that causes them to stay in environments for way too long, is because simply they are not really, it's like they put too much weight on what it shouldn't be. And it's like I said, this was inspired by a client that I was on a call with, and she found herself being stuck. And so I was on a call with her, and I was exploring ideas with her, and I was helping her to see other perspectives. And she kept, and what she would do is she would tie every thought or every goal to who she was, meaning that started to breed, right? A lot of self-doubt. It started to breed a lot of I'm not sure and things of that sort. So I know this live stream is definitely going to transform the way that you see your career. And also I want to be able to show you what is costing you, right? So when I say costing you, I'm talking about the pay, the growth, the advancement, right? And also it can also not allow you to be able to experience the fulfillment that you desire because you're putting too much weight, right? And I know that when you think about your career, right, and what it does, meaning it does allow you to be able to pay your bills or any other obligations, but it also allows you an opportunity to be able to also do those things that you enjoy, or it should, but that's another live stream, or it should, right? And so, when you think about your career, I don't want you guys to see your career as anything else but an opportunity to, use your skill set in a way to where you are able to solve problems for other people, and you are also paid in return for you being able to solve those problems. Do you believe that you may have a little bit of an issue with you put too much weight on your career, meaning that you can sometimes get who you are and what you do, you kind of get that mixed up, meaning you can sometimes find your identity, right, in these things. And it's the thing, you may not think so. You may not think so. So let's talk about some signs. Sign number one is this, right? If you are always seeking validation in your career, meaning when it comes to any kind of career decisions that you want to make, even when it comes to the work that you do, right? You don't find yourself being able to be sure on your own thoughts about yourself. You're always looking for somebody to kind of come in and just confirm that for you, right? You find yourself in a place to where it's always that thought in your mind, I wonder if I am doing enough, right? And there's nothing wrong with you being able to even examine your work, right? I think it's a good thing to sit back and be aware of your work and things like that, and even look for areas or gaps that you may need to fill. But it's another thing when you cannot get to a feeling of success, hey Isis, to a feeling of success, unless you hear somebody else validate it for you. And how many of you know that gets exhausting? It gets exhausting, right? When you find yourself pouring yourself into work and you're literally sitting waiting for somebody to say, that was great, or this is good. And even sometimes when you are wanting to seek it, right, you won't even find yourself in a place to where you can even move on, meaning that you'll find yourself being stuck in tasks and these details at work, details that don't have nothing to do with nothing. But you'll find yourself stuck in these things until somebody else comes along and said, okay, that's amazing and that's good, right? And it's to the point, if you're one that you seek validation, It'll even take away your sleep at night, when you should be trying to rest, when you should be trying to shut off your mind. You'll find yourself in a place to where you're thinking, okay, I wonder if they think this. So at night, or even when you're off from work, when you need to be turned off, you can't even turn off, right? Because you're thinking, I wonder if they thought this, or I wonder if they think that this was done well, right? So when we're talking about being too emotionally invested in your career, yeah, this ain't a game. This is serious, okay? Serious to the point as to where it can stop your success, but it can also affect your mental health. Hey, Miss Paula, and that's fine. If you're not able to catch the full stream, you can subscribe to my channel on YouTube, and it will be on there. So no problem at all. And so I want to talk about this, right? Because another sign that you are too emotionally invested in your career is you're always thinking about, like, it's always a fear of failure, okay? Meaning that you're always thinking about the next mistake that you may make, or you're always thinking about, anytime you think about a new idea or a new move or anything that could aid you and bring you closer to the level of success that you want, you automatically start thinking about fear, right? And that's because when you are too emotionally invested in your career, you'll find yourself, it's like you are trying to safeguard everything. And in you having to safeguard everything, you will automatically put on the back burner, or even sometimes throw away what you want, because that's not the top goal. The top goal is, I need to stay safe, right? If anything even look like a possible risk, I'm not doing it, right? Because you feel like if you fail, then that says something about you. That says something about your worth. That says something about how smart you are. That says something about you don't really know how to plan things out. And so again, anytime you want to make a move in your career, you take it too personal. And that is what causes you to not take any action at all, right? And that is what will allow you to lead you down the road of self-sabotage, because you're not seeing your career as a vehicle. You are seeing your career as some measurement to how valuable you are, and that's not the case, right? And so I want you guys to start thinking about your career as a vehicle, meaning this is just the thing that is going to get me towards the life that I want, that is going to help me to have those needs met and those wants met, right? It's just a vehicle. It does not mean it has anything to do with my value, my self-worth, any of that. Because why this is so important for you to understand this and like etch this in your brain, because when you find yourself in environments that you are not able to get the respect or the value that you deserve, right? If you're not able to pour that in to yourself and understand that regardless of what happens at work, regardless of the mistakes that may happen, regardless of if the people around me see the value that I have, regardless of that, I know that I'm valuable. And so it gets to the point where you will have to be happy and satisfied and content with the sound of your own applause, regardless of who's in the room, right? Because, and this is important because when you think about people, right? People are very fickle, right? Sometimes we have moods. We have people that they wake up on the wrong side of the bed. We have people that will find a reason not to like you. We have people that will find a reason not to celebrate you. There are people that will find a reason to try to shrink you. That's the reality that we live in, right? And thank you. And it's so important that you don't live off of fickle people, because if you live off of people that are fickle, you will find yourself on a emotional roller coaster. I've been there to where I've had a boss. Some days I was her best friend. Other days she acted like she didn't halfway know me. Okay. And that got a little exhausting, right? What started happening was I started to find myself as some kind of, what do you call it? Chameleon, right? Meaning whatever was the mood or the vibe in the workplace on that day, I started to adjust myself to fit that. I started to do whatever I could to make everybody around me comfortable, right? Because I was not seeking to grow in my expertise. I was not seeking to build a career that I could be happy with. I was not seeking to own what it is that I do and make the impact in my skills. I was seeking to make my environments comfortable, and I was seeking to make everybody else around me comfortable. But me doing that, what happened was I started to make everybody else comfortable, but I was uncomfortable because my career was no longer about me being able to make the impact and the income that I desired. My career was about me having the power to please everybody else. And so I built my success off of being able to please the people in the room, right? And so that caused me to not share ideas that I knew they were great ideas. That caused me to shut down. That caused me to go into a shell at work where I did not want to talk to nobody. That caused me to, not go for opportunities that I knew that I wanted. It caused me to not even look for other opportunities because my boss needed me so much. And the fact that she needed me so much kept me chained in a position that I knew that I had already outgrown a long time ago. I've been there. I've done that, right? But you get to the point where you're like, why am I allowing myself to get to the point to where I feel like I cannot make a move unless somebody else validates this for me? And a lot of times you will find people who are not able to set boundaries at work, right? And we're talking about boundaries. It's not you going into your workplace and having a meeting with your boss and saying, do this, and you want to shout out demands, right? Being able to set boundaries is you being able to know that these are the things that I need in place, not just to make me feel good, but to also to produce the results that you hired me to actually do, right? So people will struggle with even being able to set boundaries again, because you feel like if I can't reach up to this level of capacity that you need from me, even though I don't have it, or even right now in this season of life, there are things in my life that need me more than the things at work, but I'm going to completely override that because no, right? Because if I can't say yes to every single task that's thrown at me, then that means that I'm not valuable, and that means I'm seen as somebody that is just, what is it? Dependable, sorry. And so you get to the point to where you're always just in this race and you're working and you're working and you're working, but you're not working towards your goals. You are working to get the approval of people. And guess what? Yeah, that's exhausting. Yes, I know you feel seen. The reason why I can bring this out in such explicit detail because I've been there, right? I know the thoughts that's running in your mind, right? I know when you feel like you are on this hamster wheel and you keep going and you're going and you're going and you're not getting anywhere because you're not working towards anything except people pleasing, right? And I made a post early last week and I said how your career is not made for other people's approval. But when you get into this emotional trap, it'll make you want to seek to people please, but it'll also allow you to overcommit yourself. You find yourself over committing to things that you know don't serve you, that you know that is not strategic for your goals, that you know it does not even bring you nothing but more stress, because they sure ain't trying to give you more pay. Yes, I said sure ain't. They sure ain't trying to give you more pay, right? But you'll feel like you have to keep throwing on the assignments and you have to be this yes man. Because you have come to the conclusion, even though you don't admit it, but you have come to the conclusion that my value is not in my expertise or my successes and my results. My value is placed in how many times I can tell you yes. And child, that gets exhausting. Because you got to know, even when you have to say no, you are still valuable. And when you understand that the more you say no, the more valuable you can be. Because your value is not in how many times you can say yes. Because unfortunately, there are people, and y'all go ahead and like and share this post because I know you or your friends need to hear this, okay? But your value is not in how many times you can say yes. But when you understand your value, and you understand what is the purpose of your career, you understand, right, that sometimes the more I can say no, the more valuable I can be, because now I can reserve my expertise and my health and my emotions and my mind and my rest. I can reserve all of that for the things that matter the most, because I had to learn this. Okay, and this is a saying I've had to say, not only to myself, but to my family, my friends, sometimes my husband and my child. Your lack of planning is not my emergency. Just because something is a priority to you does not mean it is a priority to me. And guess what? Just because I don't leap at every request that you have does not mean that I don't care. But I've come to understand that the more that I can serve me, the better I can serve you. So sometimes it's not even about you. And a lot of people are afraid of, I don't want to be seen as mean, or I don't want to be seen like I'm not a team player. It's not about that. It's about you knowing what you bring and being able to serve that in the best possible way, right? And you can't serve best when you're serving everywhere, because this is how a lot of people fail to really master anything in their careers. This is how they find their skill sets being stuck, because they don't master anything, because they're all over the place. And a lot of times you are all over the place because there are no clear goals, because you may not even have the opportunity to sit down and think about what should my goals be, right? And then you find yourself in a place to where everybody else's needs and expectations override your goals. And so sometimes your goals kind of get lost in the sauce, right? Right. And so it's so important for people to understand and realize that, when you think about this, it's not as hard as you think it is, right? It's about being able to understand, when is it that I need to say no, and when is it that I need to say yes? Somebody on TikTok said, what about when there are no's, when those no's are met with a consistent hostility? So in those cases, now it's about you being able to decide, right? For one, it's always good to be clear on why you're saying no. Now, I'm not saying that every no deserves a full explanation. There are some responses that no needs to be the only answer, because I think you need to train yourself not to feel like you need to always over-explain stuff, right? But in some cases, when you have to say no to things at work, it could be because there is just a misunderstanding. There is a gap in communication, right? And so it's so important for you to start thinking and realizing, okay, why is it that my no's are being met with such, right? And like I said, but this is the time to decide, is the work environment that I'm in, is it aligned with my expectations? Because what people need to realize is that you cannot outwork a bad work environment, right? You cannot overwork yourself and make the people that you work with respect you. It doesn't work like that. It's like you cannot give more of something that they already don't respect or appreciate in the first place. So that's why I'm a big believer that you overworking yourself, it does nothing but hold you back even the more, right? It does nothing but let the other side know that they can use you even the more. And so it's just one of those things that when you are wanting to think about being able to advance in your career and you're not in the right environment, think about, is it the reason why I get resistance whenever I say no is because the values that I have and the values that they have are not in alignment, or is it because it's a lack of communication? Because there are some times when you do have to say a no, right? And you may have to explain things, but you have to be able to know when that's the time, right? And because again, I think a lot of this is just maturity, right? Meaning that, sometimes in the workplace, you'll have to have difficult conversations, right? Meaning don't run from those hard conversations, because in most cases, you need the feedback out of those hard conversations to determine what your next move should be. Now, if you are at work and every time let's, for instance, you find yourself at work and you are being piled on with work, right? Piled on at work is your workload is so heavy to the point where you can't even halfway get anything done. The work that you do bring forth is not really that great because, again, your hands are in everything. You're tired and you're exhausted, and you have a conversation with them and you say, hey, I think it's time for us to really sit down and like re-examine my workload and see what needs to be actual, I don't say priority, I guess you can say that, right? And let's kind of like rework this, right? So I can feel good about what it is that I'm doing and I bring forth the results that you guys expect, right? Now that could be, for some people, that could be a hard conversation, especially if you are rooted in people pleasing, because you'll automatically feel like, because I cannot give you what you need, that means I am letting you down. And guess what? You may very well be letting them down, but that's just because you, in the first place, have set the wrong expectations, right? Meaning, people will only do what you allow them to. So if you have over a long period of time allowed them to pour on work on you and you never set the expectation, you never set the boundaries in place, well, they will think, hey, this is what you do. If there's something that we need done, regardless if you're tired, exhausted, if you haven't had an off day in days, it doesn't matter here because you've done that. Now you need to retrain them. And so you might feel some resistance. You might let them down, right? But what's worse? If you let them down or you let yourself down, because when you let yourself down, you bring that let down self home to your family, your friends, your kids, and everybody else only experience that let down you, which is not a good version of you. Whereas you can let them down and allow them to be in their feelings because they're going to be okay. They ain't going to die. You may get some eyes around the office. Hello, good morning. They're going to be okay. Trust me. But for one, you're going to feel so good about yourself. And again, this does not have to be done in a rude. I'm not saying be rude. I'm saying be able to understand the capacity that you can bear and be okay with that. Be just fine with that. Okay. And let them know if you hire me for a job, it is my utmost desire to do the job at the level of excellence that you desire and I desire. But in order for me to get that done in the way that I know that you want done, I can't do all this. It's impossible. So you ask them, do you want mediocre work or do you want my best? Well, at my best, this is the level that I can bear. And say that confidently. Now, of course, you can change the words up a little bit because I'm going to live stream with y'all. I'm having fun with y'all, right? But this is the general gist of how that conversation goes. And this is why I feel like having conversations. But when you are too emotionally invested in your career, you scared. You be like, I can't tell them people that. Why? Right? Society has taught us that confrontation has to look mean. Society has taught us that the word confrontation is a bad thing. No, it's not. And it does not mean that you have to be rude. It does not mean that you have to raise your voice. It does not mean any of that. It just means that I need to confront something, meaning that there is something happening and I need to have a conversation about it. Now, whatever the result of that conversation is, take that information and make a decision. Don't take that information and get bitter. Don't take that information and get mad. Don't take that information and go around the office and start gossiping. We ain't doing that. We will take the information from the conversation and make a decision that's going to best serve us, right? This is why you can't take it personal. You can't take your career or your job or whoever you work for so personal that when you are laid off, you feel like you've been done wrong. Now, I'm not saying that when you are let go, that it is always done in a fair way. We all know that there are times when things are not done fair, right? But we also have to understand that your employer is a business. They will always be out. Yes, I'm a career coach. They will always be out for their best interest. And guess what, y'all? It's business. If you own the business, baby, it'll be the same. I own the business. At the end of the day, it is going to be about their bottom line. They have to remain profitable. That's why you need to start seeing your career as a business. It needs to be about your bottom line. It needs to be about you being able to remain profitable. So when they have to make cuts and they have to make a choice and say, okay, things getting a little lopsided, let's cut some people out. I know it's going to hurt, friend, but you can't take it personal. This is business. That's why you have to start seeing it too in your career. When you notice that little bottom line dropping, that this pay, it is not hitting the way it should anymore, meaning that maybe my expenses, because of inflation, because there are certain things that you want in life, because things have changed, this bottom line is not hitting the way that it should hit, and I'm not as profitable as I should be. It's time to make some cuts. It's time to make some cuts. And guess what? I love y'all here. I love you who I eat out with every day for lunch. Girl, I love you, but girl, guess what? I'm gone because this situation is no longer profitable to me, okay? And all of this, I love my team. I don't know what they would do without me. The same thing that they would do without you. The same way that they was still bringing forth successes and hitting their goals without you. They will be just fine, okay? You just take their number and still talk with them. But all of this, what would they do without me? The same thing they was doing before you got there. This is why you can't get emotionally invested into your career, because at any moment you may have to walk away because it's costing you. And you can't be so emotionally attached. You're like, I don't know. Bottom line, is it serving you? Is it allowing you to get ahead? Is it putting you in a place of success? But it's hard to make those hard decisions because it can be hard, especially when you have been in a place where you have done an amazing job, you have worked your way up the ranks. You like, I'm not trying to go nowhere and start over. And that's the problem. You're looking at it as you're starting over, and you're not. You're building, you're moving on to greater. You're not starting over. And you start feeling like your results and your successes and your value stays with the company. That's your skills, that's your expertise, that's your successes, that's your result, that is your impact, right? That goes with you. The only thing that needs to be staying is that raggedy paycheck because you're moving on to greater. But everything else is yours, okay? And so instead of it looking like, man, I don't want to go nowhere else and have to, let's start saying, okay, now I have an opportunity to be able to serve even more with my skills. And now I have an opportunity to be paid what I should have been paid a long time ago. So it is not a conversation of if you failed. It's a conversation of it's time to move on. And you have to be able to distinguish failing and moving on, right? It's not about failure, but you'll feel that feeling of failure when you take your career too personally. So I want you guys to stop doing that because it's costing you money. It's costing you time. It's costing you growth. You could have been had that director role, but you keep taking your career too personally. You could have been in a VP role, but you've taken it too personally. And another thing, if y'all don't stop tying y'all job titles into your identity, people put too much emphasis on a job title. You don't feel like you have grown, have been successful, done great things because you have not reached a certain job title. So friend, how dare you make all the hard work that you've done, all of your blood, sweat, and tears be seen as nothing because you are not at a certain job title? No, my friend. No, your value is not tied to a certain job title. If you are in a coordinator position, if you are in a specialist position, if you are in a manager position, I need you to walk into work every day with your head held high as if you are the VP, as if you are in C-suite, because it's important for you to already be the person that you need to be in that role. Because once you get that job title, all of that self-assurance, all of that boldness is not going to fall on you. It's absolutely not. Once you reach that pay level that you desire, you being assured in yourself is not going to fall on you. You need to work on that. Now, if anything, getting a very fancy job title will even add to it. You'll find yourself even more insecure because now you're thinking, I have to just reach, just so many expectations now, and it's just too much. But if you already knew the value that you hold, and you was already assured of yourself before you got the position, when you get the position, now you can do your thing and show up how you know that you can show up, because you know that it's not about me having to over deliver, because I've already delivered. That's how I got this job title, because I did the work. So it's not about you are in this cycle of trying to keep proving that you deserve it. No, I got it because I've already done the work and I deserve it. And I'm not going to show up to work every day starting from fresh, having to prove over and over again that I deserve it. I've already done that. I've already put in the work, right? And so you being able to get the job title, that's not going to make you more confident. I'm telling you, it's going to make you even more less confident, right? You'll find yourself being even more insecure because you have placed too much value on a job title and you didn't place enough value on yourself. And you don't understand that with or without a job, you're still valuable. It's just, and even if you're in a season where you don't have a job, right? Does not take away the value. Remember, your value stays with you, and your value show ain't what you're doing for all these other people. There's nothing to do with that. So if you are in a season where you are wanting to look for another job, it should not be, oh, I wonder who's going to see my worth. No, it's okay. I wonder, where do I want to invest my worth? I wonder, where do I want to invest my time and my skills and my value, because it's precious. So it's not about you saying, pick me. It's about, I'm going to choose. Giving yourself, being empowered in that, right? Understanding that whether I'm a specialist or a VP, don't play with me. Do not play with me. Okay. I know who I am, right? And so when you find yourself being able to walk in that boldness and that assurance of yourself, for one, you'll find yourself being able to make career decisions based out of intention and not people pleasing. And you'll find yourself being excited to take the risk on you. I want to say that again, this job title is y'all so hungry after. If you don't work on you won't adjust as you think. I work with directors. I work with VPs. I work with C-suite clients, right? Have worked hard in their career, making good money, okay? And they deal with the same imposter syndrome as if somebody that just started. They stand up in meetings, shaking in their boots, right? Or they find themselves having to lead teams, and they find themselves running off their teams because they're being more aggressive than they need to, because they are trying to prove to their team that I'm the boss, rather than having a mindset to pour into their team and have a mindset of, I don't want to have authority over you. I want to influence you. That's not the mindset. The mindset is, I got something to prove. When you got something to prove, you will either overwork yourself or you will drive everybody around you crazy, because you find yourself just micro managing people, don't halfway know how to just delegate, because it's like, no, the more work I put on, the more work I do, that's what makes me valuable. So I have to keep my hands in everything so you all can see that you need me, rather than being able to sit back in your expertise and actually visionize and actually strategize and understand that your value does not come from what you do now. It comes from how you think. But you don't have time to halfway think about it, because you're in everybody else's business, because you can't delegate. You wonder why your team has no respect for you, and you can't drive the results in your team like you need to be doing, because you're just trying to, in your mind, you say, no, I'm being busy. No, driving everybody crazy. Okay. You're driving people crazy, right? Because when you are in the mode to people please, again, you don't have no boundaries. And we feel like, it's especially those of us who love to serve. Like, I love serving. I just do. Like, I love helping people, but you can almost deceive yourself into thinking like, I love service. Like, because for one, you find yourself only wanting to serve how you want to serve rather than how they need to be served. Now it's not about them no more. It's about you, right? And the reason why it's about you, because you have something to prove. The reason why you have something to prove is because you never validated yourself, right? And this shows up in everyday work. This is the reason why Not all the time, but this is the reason why sometimes people are passed over for roles. You're like, I don't understand why. I thought it'd be great for that position, but I just cannot seem to advance the way that I know that I need to, right? And that comes from a lot of times, just being whoever and whatever you need to be at the moment. And that's not what grows your career. You need a brand. But it's impossible to have a brand, meaning you need to be known for something. But it's impossible to have a brand when you're going to be whatever they need you to be whenever they need it, however long they need it. Even though it has nothing to do with your expertise, you're going to be it. Whatever you need me to do, I'm here. No work life, me. And you don't build a brand that positions you as the expert that you are, right? It's hard to have a brand that's going to establish you as the true leader that you are, because you are a leader, right? But it's impossible to show that when it's something that you have to prove. That's why I say y'all better stop taking y'all career personal. Stop taking it personal. Because it's some decisions right now that some of y'all need to make that y'all just ignoring. Nope. Because you feel like if I make this decision, it says something about me and my friend. Right? It says something about you when you don't make those decisions, right? It shows something about how much you value yourself. Because again, y'all, the goal of your career is not to necessarily land your dream job, right? Or to get paid the most out of everybody. You know what I mean? Like, I am so against that rat race mentality. I'm so against, I believe in goals now, right? But I'm so against the fulfillment of just checking off goals. I'm so against this overly ambitiousness. Not saying you can't be ambitious. I'm talking about being overly. So I feel like a lot of that is rooted in feeling the need to prove something, right? And this is why when I work with my clients, this is not about what's the right thing to do. It's about what is it that you want to do. It's not about when you're in a job search and you're going through interviews. It's not about saying the right answers. What are the real answers? Because when you say the real answers, you get real answers. And now you can make a real choice because you got real information. But this is not about you doing whatever you have to do or whatever you have to say so you could be seen as the best fit. We're not doing that no more. It's not about being the best fit. It's about being in alignment. And you find yourself not being able to be in alignment when you keep thinking that what you have to present or bring to the table is not enough. So now I got to paint this thing for you so I can look like I'm the best fit, when it's all kind of red flags going in my spirit. The Lord is showing me this ain't the job He's showing me. But God, I just need to be picked. Pick me. I'll say whatever you want me to say, just pick me. And then 3 months into the job, you're wondering why you hate the job, because the job was never for you in the first place. And right now, the job search is tough. I'm not going to lie to you, right? But I would rather somebody come and say, you know what, for a season, this isn't necessarily a role that I wanted. I was on my way here, but I'm in my job search. I got obligations. I got things I got to take care of. I got a family. So I'm going to take this job for the meantime, just so I can wrap my head and get some kind of just stillness in my mind. And I'm going to go out there and I'm going to find the job that's for me. Like, there are seasons, and a lot of these career coaches, I ain't gonna be honest with y'all. If you need a job, if you got bills to pay, if you got a family to feed, sometimes you may have to take a survival job that takes nothing from you whatsoever. Nothing from you. And if you need help in your job search, speak up. Like, let's get to the point to where we ask for help before we actually really need it. You being able to ask for help isn't some kind of emergency cry. I'm seeing a lot of posts on LinkedIn. Oh, I've been out of work for this and this, and I'm going to lose my home. I'm not saying that I don't feel sad. I do feel sad for that, right? I do, absolutely. I've been in tough times myself. But let's not wait until the wheels fall off before we ask for help. Let's understand that even if you have to ask for help, that doesn't take anything from you. You don't have to bear everything all by yourself. You don't have to figure everything out. It doesn't take anything from you in the moments that you don't know what to do. Because there's going to be times in your career that you don't know what to do. I don't know which way to go. I don't know which strategy I need to use. I don't even know what I'm like, the reason why I'm stuck. I don't know why I feel stuck. I don't know what the next move is. I don't know. Sometimes you just have to be able to rest in the fact that you don't know and be okay with that, and let that I don't know feeling empower you. Okay, I don't know. So you know what that means? I don't have to bear this alone. I'm going to go get some help. Like, let's being able to use help as a resource and not as a sign that we failed, right? But it's going to be hard for you to do this if you keep taking your career personal. So important for you to start to think about and understand. I'm going to say it again. In your career, and there's no wrong way or right way. It's your way. What do you want to do? I had a client call because I have all of my Zoom calls with my clients on Mondays and Tuesdays. And I was talking with my client, and, you know, we're at the point where she has been in the field for years. And she said, I kept asking because I knew it was there, but she just didn't want to. And she said, I said, look, I said, what do you want? Right. And I said, if what you want right now is overwhelming you, I said, let's think about in the next 5 years. Say, don't get boxed in. I said, when you think about yourself in the next 5 years, tell me the first thing that pops into your mind. She says, I want to be able to lead a nonprofit in the next 5 years. And when she said it, she said, that felt good. And I said, own it. Right? Because she's thinking, okay, well, I've been doing this for so long and I don't really know how my skills really go over here. And I don't really know how to make it go this way. And then so she was overthinking herself, and she was overthinking herself out of her dream. She says, I desire to lead a non-profit organization within the next 5 years. I said, own it. And she said, thank you. She said, that felt so good to say. Right? And then my next question is, so now you think that it'll take 5 years, but how do you know it'll even take that long? Right? And so then she started getting excited, right? Because now you can't get excited about your career because you feel with a bunch of what ifs. You are only filled with what could go wrong. But when she started to shift her mind and get away from that stuff, this is the thing, the risk, all of these, this may happen. We can plan for that. We don't run from risk. We plan for them. We can strategize this. Don't worry about that. Let's get focused on what you want. And I said, what we're going to do is we're going to sit down and we will put together a plan to get you in that position, and not in no 5 years either. Right? So now that she's moved past all of the doubt, all of the what ifs, all of the lies that she's told herself that this is going to be impossible, we moved past all of that. And now she's back to getting excited about her career. Because again, it's not about if I should choose A or B. I don't know. Baby, what you want? And if you get in it and you realize, I'm going to do this, you can go after, again, what you want. You can change your mind. And if you get out of thinking of all the ways that this could go wrong and start leaning more onto what are the ways that this could go right, it's going to shift your whole perspective about your expertise. It's going to shift your whole mindset about your career. It's going to shift the way that you see opportunities. It's going to shift everything, because it's not about me making my life based upon a bunch of what ifs. It's about me being able to create my life based upon what I want in my career, right? So important, because when you start thinking about, if I do this, or because guess what? It's going to be some times where you may make a bad move. Not saying that you necessarily thought it was going to be bad, but I've been in situations where I got into a job and be like, oh, child, this ain't it. Mm-mm. I've never been concerned about looking like a job hopper. Who got time for that? Stuff is expensive. And times are changing. And companies are tripping, and I will happily hop away. But I don't call it job hopping. I just say I'm making strategic moves because, right, I know what I want. I'm not just applying and just hoping this goes right. I know what I want, and I know what I'm after, right? And so stop again, you taking this career thing too personal. All this, well, I've been here 6 months, and what happens if I've been here 6 months and I know there's no room for growth here. The pay is horrible. They already saying get no raise. I don't know what to do. But what happens if I move, and then on my application and the resume is gonna have, baby, we will not base our career based upon how clean you want to keep your resume. We ain't doing that. If it's that big a deal, don't put it on there. I mean, we're not gonna base important decisions based upon you want to keep a resume 2 pages. And that's the thing. I'm gonna say this, and I'm almost done. If y'all got questions, I've seen questions, and I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna answer these questions. But let me see this. Y'all give these people way more thought than what they give you. I'm not one to say, because I also believe that you don't have to burn every bridge. I believe that you can close some doors peacefully, right? I don't believe that you always got to leave out of the door kicking and screaming and still trying to prove a point. I don't believe in that. But I just get so confused when people will give their employers so much consideration, and you will literally sign on. Well, let me say this. You would try to sign on and work, and these folks already then kicked you out, and you had no heads up. Now, let me say this. I'm not saying just to go and just quit out the blue. Hey, if you can give a notice, or something wrong with you wanting to sit down and weigh out options. But let's weigh out options, and let's not weigh out how they gonna feel. We ain't doing that. Because how they feel ain't paid not no bill. Now, if anybody got an old aunt, you know that ain't not no. How they feel ain't paid not no bill. I can't take their feelings to the bank, so I'm not gonna sit up here and put that in the scale. Oh, they're gonna be okay. Now, if I'm gonna weigh something, I'm weighing my goals. I'm weighing the time that I spend with the Lord in prayer. Lord, what's going on here? But their feelings ain't nowhere in the equation, because when they gotta make their cuts, they didn't think about your feelings. They thinking about this is what's best for the company. Guess what? I'm thinking about this is what's best for Alicia. Guess what? So all of this thought, but again, I don't, and I keep saying I don't, because I don't work at a job no more. I've been owning my business now for almost full time for almost 4 years now, but I'm not going to be taking all of this extra thought, right? I'm just not. And guess what? I'm still a nice person. Hey, as long as I'm here, hey, I'm gonna do the job. I love being able to operate in excellence. When I say excellence, it does not mean I don't make mistakes. You just say I like to be able to operate in excellence. I am a high performer, high achiever. I get it, right? But I'm just not about to be. So let me answer y'all. Hold on, make sure I went over all my notes, because y'all know, Lord, when I get on here, yeah, I'm done. I did want to. No, I already talked about that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this live stream. Let me get to some of these questions. If you have been served this morning, let me go through some of these questions. Oh, I'm glad to hear that, guys. Hey, Kevin, I know you were on here. Well, I don't know if you still are. Kevin, yes, you are fulfilling a contract. It is a business arrangement. Yes, your career and the relationship with who you work for, that is a partnership, right? When you're going through for a job interview, you need to start saying, okay, let me stop even calling it that. Say, okay, I'm about to go to this business meeting because I have a business opportunity that needs to be discussed, AKA a job interview. So when you just change your mind about it, because you're so nervous because you got the wrong perspective about it. It's like, oh, I got to make sure I say the right things. Remember, ain't about saying right, it's about saying real. Right? So you start seeing these job interviews as an opportunity to go in and talk more in detail about this opportunity to make sure that it's going to serve both sides. You're going to start seeing your whole mindset change about it, because this is not about you trying to sell yourself in an interview. It's about you wanting to find alignment with this opportunity. Is this opportunity going to be in alignment with my goals and my expectations? And also, am I able to serve them as much as I want them to serve me? So it ain't. Always need to look out for a number one and make contact. Keep the contact outside of your employee's information. External, keeping your ear to the ground is of the most utmost importance. Overthinking yourself out of your dream. I need to stop doing that. Stop it. Stop it. I'm not saying don't look at the risk, because I'm one, and the Lord helps me with this, because I'm the kind of person, I will have a plan A, B, C, D, E, F. I stay with a plan, right? But sometimes God will put me into situations. He'd be like, child, I am the plan. He'll be like, I am the plan. Ain't no other plan, okay? So there are times when these look risky, right? You'd be like, okay. But it's so, I'm not saying just to ignore the risk or act like there are no risks, right? I'm just saying sometimes you just have to be aware of them and plan for them, but don't base your decisions on them. And it's the thing, we will take risk on everybody else except ourselves. Risk. Like, do you know how much of a risk it is for you to overwork yourself, to not set boundaries? That's a risk, right? You are risking your emotional health. You are risking your physical health. A lot of y'all are risking y'all financial health because the impact don't match the income. A lot of y'all will risk y'all relationships with y'all husbands and spouse because you at work all day, you drain, you're tired, you're home, don't have halfway no energy to spend time with them. You risking your whole relationships. So everything is a risk. But the question to ask yourself is, why are you so eager to risk so much more than everybody else except yourself? I need to stop saying yay to everything. Simone, grace to be there. And that's the thing, y'all. I still have to pray about these things. I still, right? Because it's such a thing, like, because again, like, sometimes it's not always about you trying to please people, though. That is like the top common reason. But even now with myself, I'll find myself wanting to say yes to everything because I really do want to help people. I do. Like I said, like I love to serve, and so I sometimes struggle with me, and like I want to say yes because I really want to help you. Like I see that you need me, right? But I think it comes from me having to just, at times I have to say, yeah, you need me in this moment, but I need me. Meaning that if I was to show up for you at this time, you would not get the best me. You wouldn't. You may get me that's irritated. Ain't nothing against you. I'm just tired. You know what I mean? And so when I do show up to serve, I want to be able to serve in a capacity to where it's going to be able to help and bring the impact. So in those seasons where I have to say, no, I'm not doing it because I'm mean or because I'm doing it because if I showed up for you, I wouldn't be showing up in the right way. So again, it's just being able to understand. I say it probably every live stream, like the more I serve me, the more I can serve you. Like I'm the kind of person, like, it had been seasons in my life when times had just got really, really busy. And I'm like, I know I should be spending my time in the morning with the Lord and in prayer. But when you start feeling like, oh, if I could just get this done. And that's a lot because I was going to be something to do. Right. And I noticed how me not being able to get that time in with him, I find myself not as patient as I should have been. I find myself a little bit more emotional as I used to be, because now I'm running off of my strength and not his strength. So there are times when, I do have to cut out things to make sure that I can get that time in with him. But I also know that if you allow me to get my time in with him, you're going to get the best me. You're going to get the best me, right? And so I think it's about being able to understand, like, if you cannot show up the way that you necessarily want to for people, that this is not a bad thing that's happening. This is good, right? But again, I do understand that when people do have certain expectations of you, that it can make them to demand certain things of you. And that's why when you see yourself starting to shift away from that, you have to be able to give people the grace and the opportunity to relearn you, right? And so if you are at work and you have been noticing that you don't set the boundaries like you should be, and then you start to realize I'm not doing this no more, and you start to set boundaries, you may not get people excited about that at first because they just have to relearn you, right? You have to retrain them. Could be with your work. This could be with your family, your friends, right? And sometimes you're like, ain't nothing wrong with me. I'm good. Just that you now it's time for you to learn me in a different way. And sometimes that can come with like conflict and things of that sort. But that's why it's good to have open communication with people. So this is not you just hopping up and saying, bam, y'all, things are changed. This is you being able to set the boundaries, ask for the things that you need, and know that you may be met with conflict. But when you have conflict, a lot of times it's just more conversations that you need to have. And so it's just a growing process. It's just a process to have to grow and just to move past these things and not, again, take it personal. Let me go over here. TikTok, I love y'all. Y'all always be holding on. Okay. I answered that question. I'm frustrated because I'm going to 2 to 3 interviews for companies to be ghosted over and over. I'm gonna say this, and what's her name? Melissa, I don't know if you're still on here, but and this is a little off topic, but I do want to address this a little bit because I know that there are people that's in their job search right now. I know that it does not feel good to go through a process and don't hear anything back. And I know it feels like you feel like, oh, my time has been a waste. But I want to kind of just shift the way that people see that. First of all, when you're going on an interview process, y'all, anytime you have to go through a job interview, that's practice. Practice, right? You have to practice talking about your expertise and your skill set. It doesn't come to you like that, right? So even in the moments where you may go through the job search and you may not hear anything back, you got an opportunity to practice your skills. Now, again, I'm not saying that it's right? But man, your perspective will change everything in your life, even though nothing has changed in your life, right? And I see people, Melissa, this is not towards you. I want to talk about this because I see people a lot of times upset about this, but people will get really, really, really discouraged and frustrated and annoyed that they're going through the interview process and not hearing anything back. And you spend more time on what you didn't hear back on versus on you being able to focus on what do you need to be doing next, right? And again, y'all can't take this job stuff personal. I was in HR for over 10 years. The first probably 4 or 5 years was me hiring. The second half was like talent growth, right? Y'all, we can't get to all y'all. Okay, now this is different. I understand you having to go to step 3, step 4, different things like that. Again, this is not to say that they are right. I'm just giving you a different perspective. Like, we will literally have hundreds of people apply for a job. It's impossible, y'all. Sometimes you have 9, 10 other orders that you have to fill to go through all the applications. So you might be thinking, I applied, never heard back, especially now when the job space is really full, right? And then sometimes if you're not hearing anything back, it may not necessarily be on them. But again, you can't just focus on what you don't hear back on, because that is going to discourage you in your job search. That is going to make you feel like you are being done wrong, and you're not being done wrong. This is just the way that this process works. Is the system out of whack? Absolutely. But don't let things like that make you feel like you've been. I always look for opportunities to not play victim. Right? I look for opportunities, right? Apply and keep it moving. And if you go through the interview process, y'all, I say this, do not wait until you get an opportunity to interview for your dream job and go in there and be scared. Y'all need to get interviews now, even for jobs you don't necessarily want. Just interview. You need the experience. You need to be able to talk about your expertise over and over again. So by the time you land that good interview, you feel more confident. But there will be people who have not interviewed for years, and then you're going straight for the job that you want. No, you ain't halfway interviewing 4 or 5 years. And you wonder why you're nervous, because you ain't interviewed. You have no practice. You have not built that skill up. So even if you are thinking about, you may not even be in a job search. You might be like, I think I want to make a move. I don't know yet. book you an interview once one to like 2 times a month. Get the practice in. So when you're ready to step out on your job search, you ain't scared to death. You ain't thinking, oh my God, I don't know what I'm gonna say to these people. You have already built that experience to talk about your expertise. So I don't see there's any more questions, right? But I do want to say this. I do have slots open for my one-to-one. It's called the Next You. This program is a mix of career advancement and alignment with a leadership development and personal development. So you're one that you are wanting to get clear on what that next move is for you. If you wanted to get a plan, if you're wanting to hone in on your leadership skills, and this is definitely the opportunity for you. I do want to invite you to book a call with me, a free strategy call with me, so we're able to kind of get clear on like what are those gaps right now. Also, to help you to get clear on what does those next few steps look for you. And so if you are looking for a way to get clear, to get strategy, and to have an opportunity to work with me, this is your I'm gonna say this, the church doors are open. And we have about like 3.5 months left in the year, right? So if you're ready to go into 2024, y'all, with a plan and with support, and be able to make the impact and the income that you want, I do invite you to book a call with me. You can go to aliciaperkins.me/discovery. That's aliciaperkins.me/discovery, or you can go to the link in on my page and book a call. If you are looking for just like career management, you're like, Alicia, I think I'm kind of okay right now, but I would like to take some proactive steps, and I invite you to join the Best You guys. I had a great sale on this not long ago, and it did really, really good. I'm so excited to have my new folks in the group. And so if you're wanting a way to just as a resource or as a support, you still get access to me in the group. If you're looking for a way to where you can learn how to up-level your skills and different things and really be able to get the support of other people around you, this is a great opportunity too. You can go to thebestyou.me. And that's the thing, between the Best You and the Next You, the Next You is an opportunity to work with me one-to-one. So if you're looking for something that's a little bit more fast track, if you're looking for something that's a little bit more tailored for you, then the Next You is your best option. But if you want something that's kind of a done with you service where all of my content and my expertise is there for you on demand, something that's a little bit more self-paced, but you still have me in there for support, then the Best You is going to be the best option for you. So it really just depends on where you are in your career, how fast you are wanting to get support and things of that sort. But you are able to get support both ways. And so if you want to work with me, let me know. If you're not sure if you want to do the one-to-one or the group style, send me a message. Let's talk. And I can tell you which ones are the best. Yes, Tisha, you do have your first call with me. I think it's in about it's this afternoon, I think. Yeah. So I'm about to hop off because I have like 4 client calls today, and I didn't talk to y'all for over an hour, so my throat needs to rest. But yeah, so if you guys have any questions about how you want to work with me, or if you just want to chat with me and share some aha moments that you got from the live stream, let me know. I probably do the most DMing on LinkedIn. I do sometimes on TikTok, but TikTok, I just don't understand how to, anyway. But my main spot is on LinkedIn. I do go live, guys, on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. All of my live streams are saved on my channel on YouTube, so go ahead and subscribe to me on YouTube. I am Alicia Perkins, and I do have a podcast, which I'm dropping a new episode this week. So you'll be able to go on there. But my podcast is called Career Revamp. So go ahead and subscribe to me on there. And if you guys don't have any questions, then I will see you Thursday. Bye.